Hello, welcome back for another video. Okay, so today's video is on solving equations involving functions. Okay, so the first example in on your notes, okay, you are given a function g of x is equals to px plus q over 2. Okay, and then you are given two conditions, right, where the first condition g of 4 is equals to 6, and the second condition g inverse of 7 is equals to 5. Okay, and the first part of the question, you are asked to find the value of a and b. Okay, so in order to find a and b, right, what we need to do will be use these two information given to find p and q. So let's start with the first one. G of 4 is equals to 6. That means that your x is actually equals to 4. Okay, so from px plus q over 2 now become p times 4 plus q over 2 is equals to 6. Alright, so I'll simplify this. P times 4 gives you 4p plus q, okay, is equals to divide by 2, bring it over, become multiply 6 times 2. So you have 4p plus q equals to 12. So this will be your equation number 1. Okay, using the second condition given, g inverse of 7 is equals to 5. Okay, and from previous video on inverse function, we know that if I do g inverse of 7 is equals to g of 5, that means that 7 is equals to g of 5. Okay, if you are still unfamiliar with this identity or this property, right, please go to the previous video on inverse function, okay, to have a look on it. So now g of 5 means that your x is equals to 5, therefore you have p times 5 plus q over 2. Simplify that, divide, bring it to the left, so become multiply, equals to 5 times p, which is 5p plus q. So you will have 14 is equals to 5p plus q. That will be your equation number 2. Okay, since we have two equation, equation 1, equation 2, so we're just gonna solve simultaneous. So I'm gonna rewrite this. 4p plus q is equals to 12, first equation, and second equation, 5p plus q equals to 14. Okay, and because both coefficient of q are the same, and if you notice, okay, both q having same sign, so therefore we're gonna subtract. Okay, so equation 2 minus equation 1. So equation 2, I have 5p minus equation 1, 4p equals to, okay, q minus q, which is 0, so I no need to do that. So I'll equals to 14 minus 12. So 5p minus 4p gives you 1p, which is p. 14 minus 12 gives you 2. So p is equals to 2. So next, after you get p equals to 2, we need to substitute that, okay, into equation number 1 to find our q value. So 4p plus q, so 4p is 2, plus q equals to 12. So 4 times 2 is 8, so 8 plus q equals to 12. So from there, bring 8 to the right, so q will be 12 minus 8. Therefore, q is equals to 4. Okay, so that will be for A part 1, finding the value of P and Q. Okay, so moving on, part 2, okay, where A part 2, you are asked to simplify function g. Okay, you know function g is px plus q over 2. Okay, p value is actually 2, so you got 2x plus q, 2x plus q, and q is actually 4, okay, over 2. Since both of them share the same denominator, so which means that you can break it up, okay, become two fractions. So you got 2x plus 2 plus 4 over 2. Simplify that, therefore you have x plus 2. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. Therefore, that will be your function g. Okay, that is your g of x. Okay, part B, where you are asked to evaluate g inverse of 5. Okay, so if you want to find the inverse and evaluate from there, you also can do that. But here, if you remember from previous lesson, in order to find the inverse without finding the inverse function, we can evaluate it by let g inverse of 5 equals to k. Then after that, we do g function on both sides. Okay, so g inverse of 5 is actually equals to 5. Okay, so g of k means that your x change it become k. So g of k means it's k plus 2. Okay, because we know g of x is x plus 2, so g of k will be k plus 2. So k plus 2 equals to 5, plus 2 bring over, become minus 2. Therefore, k will be equals to 3. Okay, so or you can write the g inverse of 5, will be equals to 3. Okay, alright, so let's continue with the next example. Okay, on try it 8. Okay, try it number 8, you are given two equation. Okay, two equation. Okay, two function. Function x is f of x is x plus 6, and function g, g of x is a quadratic, x squared minus 4x plus 9. Okay, and the first question there is asked you to solve when fx is equals to negative 3. So what you need to do will be change this f of x become x plus 6. So x plus 6 is equals to negative 3. So move plus 6 to the other side. Therefore, x will be equals to negative 3 minus 6. And therefore, you get x equals to negative 9. So that is for part A. Okay, moving on to part B, where you are asked to solve g of x is equals to 21. So same thing here. We changed our g function become x squared minus x squared minus 4x plus 9 equals to 21. And in order to solve, we want to equate it equals to 0. So move 21 to the left. So you have x squared minus 4x plus 9 minus 21 equals to 0. Simplify that. So you have x squared minus 4x, 9, positive 9 minus 21 become negative 12. So from here, if you remember earlier on in the year, beginning of the year, we saw we factorized quadratic, using try and error method. So first column is x squared, second column is negative 12, third column is negative 4x. Factor of x squared will be x times x. Factor of negative 12 will be negative 6 times 2. So cross multiply, x times 2, 2x. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. So when you plus them up, so negative 6 plus 2 gives you negative 4. Okay, so rewrite the factor. So the first factor, x minus 6, and the second factor, x plus 2. And it is equal to 0. So from there, let's solve this. So you will have x minus 6 equals to 0, or the other bracket will be x plus 2 equals to 0. So from there, solving this part, x minus 6 equals to 0. Bring minus 6 to the other side, become positive 6. Bring positive 2 to the right, become negative 2. Okay, therefore, that will be your solution. X equals to 6, x equals to negative 2. Okay, so let's move on to part C. Okay, let me go new page. Okay, so part C, Okay, it's asking you to solve function g is equals to function f. Okay, so we first thing, okay, let's change our function g become the quadratic x squared minus 4x plus 9 equals to our function f is actually x plus 6. Okay, and remember, in order to solve this, we want to equate it equals to 0. Okay, so let's bring all these x plus 6 to the left hand side. So therefore, you have x squared minus 4x plus 9. Okay, positive x, bring it to the left, become negative x. Positive 6 become negative 6. Then let's simplify that. You will have x squared minus 4x minus x become minus 5x. Plus 9 minus 6 will give you plus 3. Okay, and because of the hint there, give your answer correct to 3 sig fig. Okay, that will be the hint that asks you to use formula. Okay, so with the quadratic formula, x is minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac, okay, over 2a. Okay, so that is the formula, quadratic formula that you need to know, okay, to solve. Okay, so our value of a is actually 1, value of b is actually negative 5, value of c is actually 3. Okay, so let's put it inside our quadratic formula. So you will have negative b, so negative bracket negative 5 plus minus, okay, b square negative 5 square minus 4 times a, 4 times 1 times c, which is a 3. Okay, then the whole thing divided by 2a. Okay, so from there, let's simplify that. Minus minus become positive 5 plus minus square root. Okay, simplify that. So you got 5 negative 5 square, which is 25. Okay, minus 4 times 3, which is 12. So 25 minus 12, that should give you 13 over 2 times 1, which is 2. So from there, since it's a plus minus, which means that you have 5 plus square root 13 over 2, or you also can have 5 minus square root 13 over 2. So from there, if you evaluate that, you should get the first one, 5 plus root 3 over 2. Your answer should be 4.30. Okay, that's correct to 3 significant figure. And the other one should give you 0.697, correct to 3 significant figure. Okay, so next example, try number 9. Try number 9, you have, okay, the function h, okay, where h dot x maps it onto x minus 7 over x plus 6. Okay, and remember, you can rewrite this function as h of x is equals to x minus 7 over x plus 6. Okay, that means they mean the same thing. And part A, you are asked to express h inverse in the similar form. Okay, so h inverse means that you need to find the inverse. So how do you find the inverse? Okay, remember the 3 steps from previous video. First step, let y equals to our function. Okay, then second steps, we need to make x the subject. Okay, so so in order to make x the subject, so let's move plus x, x plus 6 to the other side because there's a divide. Bring it to the left, so it becomes multiply. Okay, so you have that. Okay, what happened next will be expand. Okay, open up the bracket. Therefore, you have xy plus 6y equals to x minus 7. Okay, our aim here is to make x as the subject. Okay, so we want x to be alone. So what we have to do, okay, we need to move all the x to one side and all the non-x to the other side. So let's move that xy to the right, and this minus 7, let's move it to the left. Okay, so you will have 6y, so it's a minus 7, bring it to the left, become positive 7 is equals to x. There's a positive xy, bring it to the right, therefore become negative xy. Okay, so both of them has x. Okay, therefore factorize, take out the x, so left with 1. Okay, so x take out the x, so you left with 1 minus xy, took out the x, so left with y. Okay, so you got 6y plus 7 equals to x bracket 1 minus y. Okay, our objective is to make x the subject, so we move 1 minus y to the other side. So you have 6y plus 7. Okay, bracket means multiply, so now bring it to opposite side. So we can divide by 1 minus y equals to x. Okay, so you have made x the subject, and the other side there's no x there. Okay, then finally the third step will be to replace. Replace x become our inverse function. Okay, so it's defined by h, so therefore you have h inverse of x. So replace h become the inverse function, and replace all the y become x. So you have 6y, so become 6x plus 7 over 1 minus x. Okay, so that will be the inverse function, and then we will put a condition there. Okay, because 1 minus x, so x cannot be 1. Okay, because when x is 1, so you have over 0, so this whole thing will be undefined. So we will put a condition there. Okay, so that will be for part A. Alright, then part B now, we need to solve. Okay, so solve h inverse of x equals to half. Okay, so part B. Okay, h inverse of x is equals to half. So we found out that h inverse is actually 6x plus 7 over 1 minus x. That is equals to 1 over 2. Okay, and how are we gonna solve that? Okay, we just gonna do cross multiply. Okay, because both sides are single fraction, so we can bring divide from the left to the right, become multiply. Divide by 2, move it to the left, become multiply. Okay, so you have 2 bracket 6x plus 7 equals to 1 bracket 1 minus x. Okay, then from there, let's expand, open up the bracket. So 2 times 6x become 12x. 2 times 7 gives you 14 equals to 1 minus x. Okay, our aim is to solve, which means that we want to find x. So let's move all the x to one side and all the non-x to the other side. So minus x, let's move it to the left, and 14, move it to the right. So from there, you will have 12x. Okay, this is a negative x, bring it to the left, become positive x. Then on the right, I have 1, positive 14 from the left, bring it to the right, become negative 14. So 12x plus x gives you 13x is equals to 1 minus 14 gives you negative 13. So bring 13 to the other side, so x will be equals to negative 13 over 13. Therefore, x is equals to negative 1. Okay, so that will be your answer for part B. Okay, so let's move on to the next example. Okay, on the third page, example A. Okay, example A, where you are given function g. G of x is equals to 2x over x plus m. Okay, and you are also given, okay, g of 5 is actually equals to 3g of 2. Okay, so this is from the question. Okay, and the first part, you need to find the value of m. Okay, so in order to find the value of m, we need to use this information given. Alright, so let's start with g of 5. Okay, g of 5 means you are changing x become 5. So from there you will have 2 times 5 over 5 plus m. Okay, which you can simplify that become 10 over 5 plus m. Okay, then we also need to find g of 2. G of 2 is actually you are changing x become 2. So you have 2 bracket 2, okay, over 2 plus m. Okay, so all the x you are changing then become 2. Therefore, you have 4 over 2 plus m. Okay, so let's put this information into our, okay, into the statement there. So g of 5 is actually equals to 3 g of 2. G of 5, we found out that is 10 over 5 plus m equals to 3. And g of 2, we found out that is 4 over 2 plus m. Okay, and it's a bracket, means that it's a multiply. So we can multiply them. So you have 10 over 5 plus m is equals to 3 times 4 is 12 over 2 plus m. Okay, since it's just on, okay, what happened next? Okay, we can do cross multiply there. Okay, because both sides is of single fraction, so we can do a cross multiply. Therefore you have 10 bracket 2 plus m equals to 12 bracket 5 plus m. Okay, and then if you notice 10 and 12 actually both of them can be divided by 2. Okay, so if you divide them by 2, okay, on both sides, so therefore you will have 5. Okay, 10 divided by 2 is 5 bracket 2 plus m is equals to 6 bracket 5 plus m. Okay, so that's what been given in your notes. Then from there we need to expand. Okay, open up the bracket. So you will have 5 times 2 gives you 10 plus 5m equals to 6 times 5, 30 plus 6m. Okay, so we are solving. We want to find m, so move all the m to one side. Okay, so what we can do, okay, let's move all the m to one side. Okay, all the m, move it to the right. Okay, then all the non-m, move it to the other side. So you have 10 on the left. This is a positive 30. Bring it to the left, become minus 30 equals to 6m. Positive 5m, bring it to the right, become minus 5m. So from there, simplify that. 10 minus 30 gives you negative 20 is equals to 6m minus 5m gives you m. So therefore, you found out that m is actually equals to negative 20. Okay. Then from part B, okay, moving on to part B. Okay, so moving on to part B, where you are asked to find g of 10. Okay, so we know that our function g of x is actually 2x over x plus m and x plus a negative 20. Okay, our m is negative 20. So from there, if you simplify that, your g of x is actually 2x over x minus 20. So from here, if you are asked to find g of 10, which means that you need to substitute, right? Your x become 10. So you have 2 bracket 10 over 10 minus 20. So from there, 2 times 10 is 20 over 10 minus 20 is a negative 10. Simplify that, it gives you negative 2. Okay. So part C is calling you to solve when g of x is actually equals to negative 1 over 2. Okay, we know that our function of g just now is 2x over x minus 20 is equals to negative 1 over 2 is actually negative 1 over 2. Right, so from there, we can just do cross multiply. Okay, so bring x minus 20, okay, to the right, then bring 2 to the left. Okay, because both are divide, so we can bring, okay, cross multiply them. So therefore you have 2x multiplied by 2 is equals to negative 1 multiplied by x minus 20. Okay, so expand that. 2x times 2, 4x. Negative 1 times x, negative x. Negative 1 times negative 20 gives you positive 20. Okay, our aim is to find x, so move all the x, collect it on one side. So you have 4x plus x equals to 20. Okay, so 4x plus x is 5x equals to 20. Therefore, x is actually 20 divided by 5. Okay, because there's multiplying, 5 times x is 5x. Multiply by 5, bring to the right, become divide by 5. Therefore, answer is equals to 4. Alright. Then last example, example B. Okay, where you have function f of x is equals to 3x minus 5 over x minus 2. Okay, and then you are asked to solve if f of x is equals to 4 over 3x. So first thing, let's change our function f of x become 3x minus 5 over x minus 2 equals to 4 over 3x. You can write this as 4x over 3. Okay, so 4 over 3x, okay, is not. Okay, so let's put a not here. So 4 over 3x is not 4 over 3x. Okay, so please put that in mind. Okay, so this x belongs to the numerator. So from there, since both sides are having single fraction, so we can do cross multiply. So you will have 3 times 3x minus 5 equals to 4x times x minus 2. Okay, so let's expand. So 3 times 3x gives you 9x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15 equals to 4x times x, 4x squared. 4x times negative 2 gives you negative 8x. Okay, so from there, what you need to do will be bring everything to one side. Okay, we need to equate them equals to 0, then we can solve them. So we need to move everything to one side. Okay, so you have 0 is equals to 4x squared minus 8x. Positive 9 bring to the other side become minus 9x. Minus 15 bring to the other side become plus 15. Simplify this equation. You have 4x squared minus 8 minus 9 gives you negative 17x plus 15. Okay, so from there, what you need to do will be, okay, factorize it. So using try and error method, first column 4x squared, second column positive 15, third column negative 17x. Okay, so we have 4x times x gives you 4x squared, and negative 5 times negative 3 gives you positive 15. Okay, cross multiply, you have negative 5x and negative 12x. When you plus them together, it gives you negative 17x. Okay, therefore the factor will be 4x minus 5. Okay, that will be the first. Then followed by x minus 3 equals to 0. Okay, then from here, let's start off with 4x minus 5 is equals to 0. So bring minus 5 to the other side. So 4x is equals to positive 5. Then bring the 4 over. So x equals to 5 over 4. Okay, this is an improper. So we need to change this to a mixed number or decimal. Okay, so it's easier we change it to a mixed number, which is 1 over 4. Alright, then we do the same thing. Okay, so this is for the first bracket. Second bracket, or we have x minus 3 is equals to 0. So move minus to the other side. So x is equals to positive 3. Okay, therefore we have two answers there. Okay, so that's it for this video, okay, on solving equation related to function. Okay, so that's it for today. So see you around. Bye bye.